Another day, another story. Adolf Hitler was a German politician and leader of the Nazi Party. He was born on April 20, 1889, in Braunau am Inn, Austria, and died by suicide on April 30, 1945, in Berlin, Germany. Hitler's early life was marked by disappointment and failure. He dropped out of high school and struggled to find success as an artist in Vienna. He eventually moved to Munich, where he became interested in politics and joined the German Workers' Party, which later became the Nazi Party. Hitler quickly rose to prominence within the Nazi Party, and in 1933 he was appointed Chancellor of Germany. He used his position to consolidate power and establish a totalitarian regime. He began a massive rearmament program and expanded Germany's territory through annexation and conquest. Hitler's policies were marked by extreme racism and anti-Semitism. He believed that the Aryan race was superior and that Jews and other undesirables should be exterminated. He oversaw the persecution and murder of millions of people, including Jews, Roma, disabled individuals, homosexuals, and political dissidents. Hitler's aggressive expansionism led to the outbreak of World War II, which ultimately resulted in the defeat of Nazi Germany. In the final years of the war, Hitler became increasingly paranoid and delusional. He withdrew from public life and spent much of his time in a bunker in Berlin. On April 30, 1945, with Allied forces closing in on Berlin, Hitler committed suicide by gunshot. His death marked the end of Nazi Germany and the beginning of a new era in world history. Hitler's legacy is one of cruelty and destruction. His policies and actions led to the deaths of millions of people and left a lasting impact on the world. He remains a controversial figure to this day, and his name is synonymous with evil and totalitarianism. The question of why Adolf Hitler became so cruel and violent is a complex one, and there are many factors that contributed to his extremist views and actions. One of the key factors was Hitler's early experiences and upbringing. He grew up in Austria-Hungary during a time of political and social upheaval, and his family struggled financially. Hitler was a troubled and angry young man, and he developed a deep resentment towards Jews, which he blamed for many of his problems. Another factor was Hitler's exposure to extremist ideologies, particularly anti-Semitism and nationalism. He was influenced by the writings of anti-Semitic thinkers and was deeply committed to the idea of a pure Aryan race. He also believed in the need for expansionism and the establishment of a German empire. As Hitler rose to power, he became increasingly authoritarian and ruthless. He used violence and intimidation to suppress opposition and consolidate his power. He also oversaw the establishment of concentration camps and the persecution of Jews and other minorities. Over time, Hitler's cruelty and violence became increasingly pronounced. He was responsible for the deaths of millions of people, and his actions have been described as some of the most horrific in human history. While it is difficult to pinpoint a single cause for Hitler's cruelty, it is clear that a combination of personal factors, extremist ideologies, and political power all played a role in shaping his actions and beliefs. Adolf Hitler is remembered in the Soviet Union, now Russia, as one of the most evil and brutal dictators in history. During World War II, Nazi Germany invaded the Soviet Union, resulting in some of the deadliest battles and most horrific atrocities of the war. The Soviet Union lost an estimated 27 million people during the war, many of them civilians. In Russia, Hitler is often referred to as the fascist aggressor, or the enemy of the people. There are monuments, museums, and memorials throughout Russia that commemorate the sacrifices of Soviet soldiers and civilians during World War II and serve as a reminder of the atrocities committed by Nazi Germany. Despite the passing of decades, the memory of Hitler and the Nazi regime remains vivid in the collective consciousness of many Russians. The suffering and loss experienced by the Soviet Union during the war are still deeply felt, and the lessons of that time continue to shape Russian politics and culture. Adolf Hitler died on April 30, 1945, in his bunker in Berlin as Soviet forces closed in on the city during the final days of World War II. The exact circumstances of his death have been the subject of speculation and debate over the years. According to most historical accounts, Hitler committed suicide by gunshot and cyanide poisoning. On the afternoon of April 30, Hitler and his new wife, Eva Braun, went into a private room in the bunker. There, they reportedly said their goodbyes and then took their own lives. Hitler is said to have shot himself in the head with a pistol, while Eva Braun took cyanide. Their bodies were then carried upstairs to the garden, where they were doused in gasoline and set on fire. The following day, on May 1, 1945, the news of Hitler's death was announced to the world. His death marked the end of the war in Europe and the downfall of the Nazi regime. In the years since his death, there have been numerous conspiracy theories and claims that Hitler did not actually die in the bunker. However, there is strong evidence to support the official version of events, and most historians accept that Hitler died by suicide in April 1945. Thanks for watching. Please like and subscribe us.